Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you this morning. The stars of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at York's Grand Opera House is taking place this Christmas. And it features Mark Little. How you doing?
Great, thank you, Alex. How are you, sir?
Now, what are you? A dwarf or Snow White? Which one is it?
I play Bashful, the world's tallest dwarf.
Well, at least you're not dopey, that's the thing.
I'm the main henchman to the cruel, wicked queen in Snow White.
It's a great show, that, and over the last couple of years, they've really built it up and made it one of the most sort of seminal pantomimes in Britain. It must be a thrill to be part of something so credible.
Yeah, brilliant. I do enjoy a pantomime. I think it's a really important theatrical, cultural event every Christmas. And to be here at the Opera House, fantastic. So I've worked here a few times in my time as an artist, touring the country, and great to be back.
Is it fun being you now? I mean, we look at your CV, you're a proper actor who's done proper work. I suppose Neighbours was the thing that people loved you for, because twice a day for about 17 decades you're in our front rooms. But you've been acting all your life, haven't you?
Well, pretty well since I left high school, yeah. And I was only in Neighbours for 3 years. Just to clarify, you didn't have to cope with me for 17 years. I mean, I think you coped with Neighbours for 20 million years, but I was only in it for 3 years, Joe Mangel, which is quite incredible, really. So a lot of people think I was in it for a long time, but Joe was just in that sort of period, that late 80s, early 90s period where Neighbours was at its peak. It was peak Neighbours, I think they call it. And I was there in the middle of it with dogs and kids and Jason.
I just saw him last week at the Palladium in Joseph, and it's amazing the impact a show like that could have. And it wasn't necessarily a given, because it could be a bit silly and a laughing stock. But as you say, it became so huge, so phenomenal. Everybody just loved everybody in it because it was positive, wasn't it? It was, at that time, it was sexy and it escaped us from sort of dull Britain. And it was fantastic timing.
It really was we look back at it almost with an innocence now, and we see what's going on nowadays in Trump's planet Earth. The late 80s was sort of the beginning of our loss of innocence, I suppose. And Neighbours was a part of that innocence. And a lot of people look back at that period of time with great fondness, because it seemed to be before it all started to go a bit pear-shaped.
And it was a great time. I didn't have a mortgage in those days, or worries, or a job, anything like that.
No, all of that. And Neighbours is remembered by people for that period of time, and people have a great fondness for that late 80s, early 90s. That's, Joe Mangel, he was a...
Let's talk about Panto, which is happening this Christmas. I mean, everybody loves it. They're doing a big run, and it's a big show. What are we going to get this year from Snow White? Because I know last year was a huge success.
Well, it's got everything out of Snow White. It's one of the good ones, I think, as Pantos go. Has all that magic, and it's just an excuse for people to escape for a couple of hours from the madness that is outside. And it's got everything. I'm just meeting all the cast in that now. Today, and it looks like a fun bunch.
Is Vicky Michelle behaving herself, because she can be a bit naughty?
Great. Well, that suits me. Yeah, she is. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun.
And again, it's hard work. How do you gear up for it? Because going from November, when you sat in your chair watching This Morning and Loose Women, to doing 2 or 3 shows a day, I mean, it's tough, isn't it? It's a proper job.
It's true. It sure is. There's no rest for the wicked. And but there's no 3 show days, luckily. Right. That's when it does tend to get into the realms of a little bit absurd and a little bit difficult. 2 shows a day, that's the job. Fine. Yes, you just have to grit your teeth and do the job. It's a pretty magic time of the year. And as an artist, I think it's my job to give people that fun 2 hours across all the generations, from the 6-year-olds up to the 96-year-olds, so that we're all having a good time. That's my job, and I like that responsibility. And it seems more and more lately. We need that escape. We need that fun. We need to just tune out from the horrors of it all.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I had the same conversation with the cast this time last year. Nothing's really changed, does it? If nothing else, it's got even more depressing and confusing.
It's got even a little bit harder, a little bit weirder.
Yeah.
And that's where Panto is a good microcosm of that, and we're able to mock and do its job. You know, it's a small p political, but it is a political thing. And as a baddie, I'm giving people the opportunity to get rid of all that angst and get all that booing that they might want to do in normal life, get it out of their system, especially with the kids, you know, to show them that if they dissent loud enough, they can win. Good can triumph over evil.
Yeah, it's a beautiful point.
All we can hope.
I'm just up here at the moment in Northumberland, and I was walking along the beach yesterday, and there were kids playing with sandcastles, and I thought to myself, nothing really changes. We might have technology, we might be obsessed with the internet, TV might be dying, but ultimately kids want to play with sandcastles and at Christmas go to a panto. It's lovely, that, in a way.
It really, really is really important, and the magic of panto is a sort of, what's the term? Analog theatre. You can't beat a bit of good old-fashioned theatre magic. And kids, you know, they can be on their device for, 4 hours a day, and it's nothing compared to that joy of that panto magic and scene changes and pyros and lighting. And there's an enchantment that humans really like that. And I think we'll go more and more back to that analog sort of thing. But yeah, it's really important for the kids to know that they can have more fun in the theatre, watching there's usually kids in the show who are dancing and running around and cozies and stuff. That there's more fun in real life than there is in the virtual world.
I remember,
and that's really important.
I remember seeing it as a kid, and I just reviewed The Lion King a couple of weeks ago in the West End, and I thought to myself, I wish I could see it in my mind's eye 20 years ago for the first time again, because you never forget how it makes you feel when you're taken away and moved and enchanted by the theatre. It's a beautiful feeling, isn't it?
It really is. There's nothing matches it. Nothing matches it. I saw an interesting review of the new Lion King movie today that is like that's photorealism, and it looks almost real, and the magic gets lost a bit.
Right.
It doesn't have the same thing as what the theatre does. The theatre is really, really important, and pantos. I mean, a lot of our audience, you know, my target audience is 6 years old. They're our future audiences in the theatre, so we've got to show them a good time so they come back.
Well, I can't wait to see it. Talking of never getting old, when you look at yourself now in clips on Neighbours, is it like looking at your grandson? It was a different time, wasn't it?
It was last century, mate. That was the 20th century. Yeah, it was a while ago now, at least 30 years now. And
I forget, were you killed off, or did you just get in a car and a taxi and bugger off to the airport or something?
He just went off to the eternal sort of honeymoon, the eternal honeymoon, I think, and then he's gone and lived in the country. I don't know what he does.
Oh, so is there a chance you could ever come back, maybe one day?
Yeah, people do say that. I don't think they've got any money, and I don't think so. I think that Joe Mangel, I don't think he belongs in the new Australia.
No.
Australia's moved on. He's like such a dinosaur.
I feel like that every day, to be honest, Mark.
I do.
Hey, listen, it's great talking to you.
No, Joey studies, but he's just like a time capsule of times past, because yeah, he was like a bit of a pioneer, because Joe was a single dad and all that sort of stuff that is all sort of de rigueur now. Yeah, great times.
Great memories.
Really,
you can catch Mark Little in Panto this Christmas from December 13th at the Grand Opera House in York, one of the most beautiful theatres in Britain, and see Snow White. And really lovely talking to you again. Thank you so much for your time.
Great, thanks, Alex. No worries, mate.